Shalom, Kahalo Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bahashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push in the word and truth and in sincerity, the hope of the land, tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yahshua back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutations to you. All right, so we're gonna, what are we gonna do? Let's see. Russia, communication, Poland. Okay, let's just get the gathering. All right. Let's get the gathering here. Let's get it in the Apocrypha. So you have to bear with me. Okay. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the men that came out of the sea. Okay? Now, this is talking about the armies and the nations that were fighting against each other in World War III. They stopped fighting against each other to wage war on the man that came out of the sea. This man, 2nd Ezra 13 and 3. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. So this is talking about the one you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, whose name is Yahushai in the ancient Hebrew. Okay, with the thousands of heaven. That man with the thousands, he was with the angels. An angelic force. Okay, an army. Okay, so that's what that's talking about. These guys were gathered together. Stop fighting each other to fight against him, the angels and the one you call Jesus Christ. That's what World War III is about. World War III is about God gathering all the armies of the world together, and they're going to fight each other for a short moment, and after that short moment, out of the fourth dimension will come the angels and the one you call Jesus. They're going to stop fighting each other. The armies of the world are going to stop fighting each other, and then they're going to try to fight against the one you call Jesus and the angels. Joel 3. Okay. We're reading. Let's go to 2. Okay. God says here, Most High's name is Yahweh. He says, let's go to King James. I, that's the Most High, Yahweh, will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Why is he gathering all nations? Or more specifically, why is he gathering the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat? Armageddon, if you will. I will gather the armies of the world. That's World War III. Okay? Now, back to 2nd Ezra 13, we see them gathered together. After this, I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together. See, he already gathered them to fight against each other. Okay. Right? Multitude of men out of number from all over the world. All right? Now, here's where they're fighting against each other, and they stop fighting each other to fight against Jesus, the one you call Jesus, and the angels. So it says, this is World War III. 2nd Ezra 13 and 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another. That's all World War III. And here's where the fourth dimension opens up. And one realm against another. The third dimension against the fourth. Two different realms. Okay? Now they're fighting. And then they get here, 33, 2nd Ezra 13 and 33. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land, meaning their nation, leave the battle they have one against another. So all these nations are going to be fighting against each other. Okay. Vlad, okay, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, okay, now Saudi Arabia are going to fight against United States, Israel, Australia, Canada, okay, that's World War III. While they're fighting, his voice is talking about when they see those laser beams start shooting, okay, during World War III, they say, wait a minute, we got to stop fighting each other. They're going to leave the battle they have one against another, and then they're going to fight against two, Jesus and the angels. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and overcome him. Who? Overcome him by fighting. Gathered together to do what? To subdue the men that came out of the sea and the angels. Okay? So that's World War III. Kind of went off on that a little bit. Let's watch Johnny Storm. We're going to let him. So back up to World War III. That comes before the war in heaven, which is the sky. Okay? Got to have World War III first. Then out of the fourth dimension. Let's get that in Joel real quick. Okay? Here it is again in Joel. Okay? Joel 3 and 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together. World War III. Round about. And here's where the angels and the one you call Jesus come into the fight. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Who are God's mighty ones? The angels. That's when they get into the fight. Okay? So let's go to the fight first. First, we have to have World War III. This is Johnny Storm at Don't Speak News. 70 minutes ago, Russian ambassador, all Russia-U.S. communications cut off. No peace. When they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction has come. As Polish U.S. forces assemble on border for supposed war games. Yeah, right. No, this is, they're being gathered. I shall gather all the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is the Middle East. Right now, they're close to the Middle East. Okay? But soon they'll all be there fighting each other. Okay? Before the fourth dimension opens up and then a greater battle will ensue. If you want to see that battle in a movie, go watch a movie called Independence Day. Okay? Go watch Independence Day and you'll see this. Okay? Go watch Independence Day and you'll see this. With Will Smith. Okay? They're showing it to you. You just can't put two and two together, so I'll help you. All right? As humble as I can be, in all humility. All right, so anyway, Johnny Storm's going to explain where we're at. They haven't declared World War III yet, but it's getting close. Here we go.
Here we go. All Russia-U.S. communication channels have been cut off. Polish preparations for war, movement of strong forces to the border, and these are statements of the Minister of Defense of Belarus. So we have all kinds of forces moving on the NATO side along the Polish border with Ukraine and Belarus. We have lots of NATO and Polish forces moving with tanks. As we see large movements of American and Polish forces with Abrams and Toma tanks are recorded on the borders with Belarus and Ukraine, with the Russian ambassador now revealing that all channels of communication with the U.S. have now been cut. So I can't emphasize how serious this part is. When the Russian ambassador to the U.S. comes out and says all channels of communication have been cut, including emergency back channels like they used during the Cuban Missile Crisis, this is very serious. I'll read on. The intervention of the Russian ambassador is of great importance, as the Polish, Ukrainian, Belarusian border will be on fire in the next period of time, or I would say very shortly. Excuse the Google translation of the Greek here. It's not always the best. But all countries are gathering forces toward Western Ukraine. So we remind you, as War News 24/7 revealed yesterday, that the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov emphasized that Russia sees no point in maintaining a diplomatic presence in the West. And remember, we talked about that here 2 days ago on this very channel. Hal Turner was reporting it then. Therefore, it's not excluded that Russia and the USA will end up recalling ambassadors, and I'm sure they will at some point very soon. The ambassador of Russia in Washington, Antonov, specifically stated this: there are no channels of communication between Washington and Moscow for de-escalation, such as those that prevented a nuclear war between the two countries 60 years ago. And guys, think about that. It is 60 years ago this month that the Cuban Missile Crisis went down. It's kind of wild. Anyway, communications between Russia and the United States were destroyed through Washington's fault. Washington has long crossed all the red lines set by Russia. Under the current conditions, a return to the previous form of relations between Russia and the West is impossible. For ideological reasons, the United States intends to create alliances to oppose the Russian Federation and China in various fields. The United States should abandon irresponsible nuclear rhetoric. There can be no winners in a nuclear conflict. The countries, USA and Russia, despite the difficulties, are not yet on the verge of a nuclear conflict. Well, and yet the forces on the ground would differ with that statement. Anyway, the Minister of Defense of Belarus, Poland, is preparing their forces. The political course followed by Poland shows signs of war, not defense, according to the Minister of Defense of Belarus, Lieutenant General Krenin. The Belarusian minister noted that the militarization of the neighboring states is progressing at an accelerated pace, and here he's talking about the Baltics. He says, first of all, Poland, whose political course shows Warsaw's preparation for a war that is not all defensive. Preparations have begun, not for one, as reported, but for two additional mechanized divisions of ground forces. At the same time, an additional section will also be located in the eastern part of the country near the city of Białystok. The structure of the Polish territorial defense forces is also changing. 10 battalions of territorial troops will now appear on the border with the Republic of Belarus. He noted that in order to expand the military formations of NATO forces, the military infrastructure is being developed at an accelerated pace in neighboring states. So he said modernization of most airports in Poland is almost complete, and the ports are being improved to receive landing ships of the alliance. So then you also have Lithuania and Latvia training centers being built to support the activities of NATO military forces, and new modular mobile camps are being built at an accelerated pace, capable of housing many thousands of military personnel. An infrastructure has been established to ensure the rapid deployment and movement of U.S. continental troops, numbering up to an Air Force division and squadron. That is more than 20,000 people. The deployment of U.S. missile defense bases on Polish soil will significantly upset the balance of power in the region. Because, and we've said this many times, many times, with these defensive systems, offensive missile weapons can also be installed on its launchers, covering the entire territory of Belarus and most of the territory of Russia. And if you think Russia is going to let that happen, you've got another thing coming. That would be the same as them setting them up in Canada right on the border, or in Mexico right on the border. I mean, it would make no sense for us to allow that, for the U.S. to allow something like that. So why would Russia allow it on their borders? I mean, it's just ridiculous, and yet they're just supposed to acquiesce to everything that the West wants. So here's some videos of things on the move. If you'd like to watch them, I'll let you watch them at your leisure. Put the link up as always. Now, same site, War News 24/7. It will swallow Ukraine. General Surovikin, in other words, General Armageddon, that's his nickname, has changed the operational plans. They say now he's starting to use tweezers from the west with a nuclear umbrella, and the Russians will enter Lviv, which is in western Ukraine, directly. They will bypass Kiev, and there's been a huge mobilization in Belarus as well. So I'm just going to briefly skim through some of this for you. General Surovikin changed all operational plans regarding Ukraine. Now Russia's target will not be, at least not immediately, Kiev, but the front will shift to the west of the Belarus-Ukraine border, as the first map of the text shows. The generalized military involvement of Belarus is now a given, as Russian and Belarusian forces will enter Ukrainian territory from 3 points. Russian and Belarusian forces will enter the Lviv region and move toward the border with Poland. This plan justifies the conversion of Belarusian Su-25s to carry nuclear missiles and the transfer of Russian MiG-31s with hypersonic and nuclear Kinzhals to Minsk. So the goal, of course, is Poland and preventing U.S. forces stationed there from getting involved.
Boom. I'll stop it right there. All right, we're about halfway in. If you want to watch the rest of this, you can do that. But they keep saying nuclear this, nuclear that, nuclear this. We were going to line right up on Poland's border and dare NATO, all right, to make a move. Okay, that's crazy. It is now very possible before the entry of Russian and Belarusian forces into Western Ukraine that a nuclear bomb will be detonated as a warning deterrent to the American and Polish forces. Okay? Nuclear, nuclear, nuclear. All right, where is this thing going? Where is it going? Well, it's going into World War III. And they'll fight for a while until the so-called UFOs are dispatched. Okay? Let's take a quick look at that. Okay? Here we go. It's pretty simple. Okay, so this is this in real life. Where'd it go? This here is this in real life. Okay. Oh, well, there's no UFOs. Well, tell me what this is then. What is this?
They're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh, they did.
There's a fleet of them.
That's not our LNS, though, is it? It's not. It is LNS, dude. Well, if there's a thing,
it's rotating.
It's rotating.
And when he turned his countenance to look, see this? Okay, these things have crosshairs like this. They have radar tracking systems. And what we're doing right now is we're looking through the scope of one of these things. And this thing is in the scope. So this picture that, oh, well, that's not what it means. Well, what is this? Smart ass. What is this? Explain this. You see this? This is that. This is that. And this scope, these crosshairs, are loaded onto these things. Okay? This is a U.S. Navy, as in the Blue Angels, jet. And this is Michael and his angels, the angels of God. And it is what it is. Okay? This battle is coming, right? They're doing some Cold War maneuverings right now. But soon it's going to be like it was in the movie called Independence Day. Go look at the movie Independence Day. These things are firing on these things, right? There's a huge, what they call UFO what they say mothership is actually a fathership. And then there's a bunch of fighters that come off, and then those fighters are doing this, but they're actually shooting at one another. And this is what's coming. It's all in the Bible. All right? But in the Bible, these things are called chariots. They're called clouds. When you say Jesus is coming back in the clouds, these are the clouds. A pillar of cloud by day, a pillar of fire by night. Okay? Swing low, sweet chariot. She'll be coming around the mountain. Go to Wikipedia and type in, she'll be coming around the mountain. Right, click on where it says background. Read the second paragraph. All right, so with that, we get a precept on the way out. I'm gonna get Psalm 104. The book of Psalm 104. We'll start at the top, and these are some attributes of Lord my God. Thou art very great. Talking about the Most High, Yahweh. Bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord my God, my power. Thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a garment, who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the water, who maketh the clouds his chariot. Jesus is coming back in what? Behold, he cometh with these chariots, and every eye shall see him like an Independence Day. Who maketh the clouds his chariot. Swing low. Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he cometh with, who is he? This guy. The original angry black man. Okay. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, why are they going to wail? Because he's coming back whooping ass. Okay? He's coming back to shed blood. Okay? He's coming back to bring division. All right? Nay, rather, division. It's not going to come out. What is it? Luke what? This is written in red letters. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. Do you think that I have come to give peace on earth? This is the one you call Jesus. This is him. Do you think I've come to give peace on earth? Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No. 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 I tell you, nay. But I'm going to separate. I'm going to divide the sheep from the goats. And guess what? I'm going to install the sheep as the rulers of the kingdom of heaven. That's what this war is about. Now eat that. Eat it. All right? It is what it is. Show me your thumbs down, bitches. All right? If you're hurt by the truth, show me your thumbs down. All right? Because the angels will mark down. You think you're silently scoffing at the truth. No, you're not. Angels see everything. All right, so with that, we hope that the elect, you brothers and few sisters, were edified with that. We'll say shalom.